United States joins European Union in sanctions against China. On March 22nd, the United States joined the European Union's decision to impose travel and economic sanctions on four Chinese officials in response to hundreds of Uyghur Muslims' imprisonment, or really over 1 million. The last time the EU imposed sanctions was over 30 years ago in 1989 in protest of China's treatment of the Tiananmen Square demonstrators in Beijing. A foreign ministry spokesman from China condemned the sanctions, saying that they severely undermined the China-EU diplomatic relationship. The representative went on to say that the incidents regarding the Uyghur Muslims were nothing but lies and disinformation. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken said in a statement that the U.S. would continue to stand with its allies around the globe in calling for an immediate cease to the People's Republic of China's crimes and for justice for the many victims. So there's a lot for this news. And then there's been other developments, but I'll let you guys go first and then we can get into it.
This is fantastic. Great job. I'm pretty sure, again, I'm not saying everything the Biden administration does is great, but this specifically, unless we see more details and we realize that it's not that good, but on the face of it, it seems fantastic. I was told that the Biden administration is going to be soft on China. I was told that, I don't know, Biden is like loyal to the CCP. He's a CCP puppet. He's so what happened? What's happening? Like seems to be more aggressive. His administration seems to be more aggressive on China in a much more meaningful way than Trump ever was. Okay, it seems like when Trump was taking actions against China, it was hurting the U.S. more than China. But this is fantastic, and this is being done with United States allies, within coalitions when it comes unanimously with like people that you have the countries that are on the side of enlightenment versus countries that are violating human rights. So I really much congratulate this, and this is a really good move, and it's very interesting because all those people that kept on saying, oh, look, Biden is going to be soft on China. China is going to basically come and roll over Biden and do this and that. Like, where are they? Like, I don't even, like, they're not, this is, if it was anything other than this, it would be all over it. But they don't even come and admit, like, they were wrong about something, or they're surprised about this, or they're pleasantly surprised, or anything. Like, they don't admit, like, the same people, I follow their outlets. I follow all the people that warned us about, oh, Biden is going to be very, like, on China's side. They don't even, they don't even bother coming and saying, like, okay, this happened, but this is why. They're, like, ignoring it. They're like, shh, I hope my followers don't, like, they don't even address this. Why are they not even addressing this? This was such a big move. China is pissed. Like, Suze, have you seen their reaction to this? They're like, really.
In fact, I was about to get into that. Wait, let me pull it up.
Hey guys, before we get back to that video, YouTube has fully demonetized their channel for supposedly hateful and harmful conduct, without telling us what we did wrong. If we get to 1,000 patrons, we will be able to keep paying all our team, our editors, our artists without ever having to worry about monetization again, which would be amazing. Yay! So please support Atheist Republic on Patreon. Link in the description below.
Whoop. Here we go. European Union, China imposed tit-for-tat sanctions over Xinjiang abuses. So here's where things get interesting. So the EU imposed these sanctions, and then the United Kingdom and the US joined those sanctions, backed those sanctions. And in response, China's like, no, we're going to sanction you. So basically, where was it?
There's a lot of targeting of their companies and different things too on social media.
Yeah. Beijing's retaliation included sanctions on European lawmakers, the EU's main foreign policy decision-making body known as the Political and Securities Committee, and 2 institutes. German politician Reinhard Bütikofer, who chairs the European Parliament's delegation to China, was among the most high-profile figures to be hit. The nonprofit Alliance for Democracies Foundation, founded by former NATO Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen, was on the list, according to a statement by China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then, quote, as long as human rights are being violated, I cannot stay silent. These sanctions prove that China is sensitive to pressure. Let this be an encouragement to all my European colleagues. Speak out, said Dutch lawmaker Sjoerd Swordsma, who was put on China's sanction list, said on Twitter. So, yeah.
Yeah. And also the people who say that China doesn't care about this, they're so wrong. They are so wrong. This is something that they care deeply about. And I think like as good as China is when it comes to predicting things and coming up with the most strongest reactions to this, they are a bit surprised by how unanimous, at least, you know, the more advanced countries have become, the more first world countries have become with each other. This shows how good it is for Trump to be out of office, right? It makes it easier. Again, I'm not going to deny the fact that a lot of these countries have had a bad record to fight against human rights violations when they need to the most, especially when it comes to like countries like Saudi Arabia. But it is better when they actually get to be on the same side. It makes it easier for them to push back against human rights violations like the one by China. Again, I know, yes, there's a lot of examples of hypocrisy. There's a lot of examples of things that they should have done that they haven't. There are even examples of them aiding countries with their human rights violation. But things are not black and white. It's not binary. It could still be bad and yet less bad. And having Trump out of office makes it easier for United States and the EU to work closer with each other when it comes to pushing back against crap like this. And anybody who thinks that China doesn't care about this is delusional and doesn't understand how anything internationally works. Rivka, you have your hands up.
So to continue on what you're saying, absolutely they care. If they didn't care, they wouldn't react so harshly. They wouldn't overreact. They've got social media stars and movie stars making ads condemning European country, condemning different companies, condemning organizations. I mean, this is an all-out, blitz by them to kind of push back. So that is an absolute clear signal that they care deeply about it.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting, this section right here. Restricted from entering China or doing business with it, Beijing accused them of seriously harming the country's sovereignty and interests over Xinjiang. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs urged the EU to correct its mistake and not to interfere with China's internal affairs. And then, well, mainly symbolic, the EU sanctions mark a significant hardening in the bloc's policy towards China, which Brussels long regarded as a benign trading partner, but now views as a systematic abuser of rights and freedom. And I thought the fact that they haven't sanctioned China significantly since 1989, since Tiananmen Square, is quite significant. That kind of also demonstrates to what the heuristic is, what is the standard here, right? And it also shows, they said, although it targeted 2 computer hackers and a technology firm in 2020 as broader cyber sanctions, and there's an arms embargo, the EU has opted to not interfere with China's sovereignty, up to this point. There's a lot of issues that go on in China. It's not just this, So it's been met with an opinion that this is above the level of, oh, we're just messing with a country's domestic affairs. Like, no, this is a human rights crisis that we need to intervene.
You know, I think your point is well taken, because I think that China was under the assumption that no one was going to do anything about their internal anything, because everyone was so dependent on their factories and their goods shipped from China and the cheap prices, that I think they really did think that, you know, we've got you kind of by the, you know, by the Walmart bag or whatever. So it's really good to see that I think they're surprised a little bit and upset, because that's part of their, you know, virulent reaction to it.
So yeah, actually I have a plan here. Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, one thing I want to mention is that it's so stupid when countries say, like, it's our internal affair, don't meddle. Okay, it's your internal affair. It's also our internal affair not to trade with you. Like, okay, sure, it's your internal affair. Our internal affair is that we don't want to trade with people who violate human rights. So if we don't want to trade with you, now you tell us, what are you going to tell us? That we have to trade with you? Well, now you're meddling us with our internal affairs. You're telling us that you want to force us to trade with you? This is you're meddling. You're telling us who to trade with. We don't want to trade with you. That's our internal affairs. Okay. I do also want to say that a lot of people, again, because they're black and white thinking, and the binary mindset that they have, they don't understand that that some countries could be worse than other countries. So the reason why I'm saying that is because, as much as we criticize India by far is a lot less bad when it comes to human rights violation. Like, not even close to China. Okay, so when it comes to trading partners, India, as the economy as a superpower of the future, not right now. They want to pretend that they're a superpower. They're not. They will be one day. As a superpower of tomorrow, India should be used as a balancing act against China. Okay, I know countries like Vietnam are really good trading allies for United States and other European countries and Australia and other countries to depend on when they want to threaten China when it comes to building products, finding substitutes for cheap, Bangladesh is a really good example, especially for clothes. But there are alternatives to China. The problem is that they're not even close to China because the number of people China has, it's hard for them to compete with China. However, India has been, when it comes to services, has been a major world player, but not when it comes to manufacturing. Nobody has been able to compete with China, but it can become, like, if more people rely on India, especially because India considers itself a major competitor to China, relying on India more and more, because it's a country with much less human rights violations. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't have human rights violation, but it's like nothing compared to China. So a shift to India, a shift to Vietnam, a shift to Bangladesh, a shift to what else? Who else do we have? I don't know, in the region. Anyways, other countries. Vietnam is really good, by the way. Vietnam should be used as much as possible to show that you're eventually. And also because here's a fantastic thing, by the way. Okay, China's income is rising, okay, every goddamn year because of all the export, right? That is because of all the manufacturing jobs that is going to China. So this has three positive effects. First of all, more people in China are out of poverty. Secondly, as more people are less poor, they're going to internally fight against their government, because once your tummy is full, now you demand rights. Okay, when your tummy is empty, you just want food. When your tummy is full, you want to there's more likely for more people for internally to fight for freedom and rights. Okay, so I'm hoping that's going to happen. That's going to bring an age of enlightenment in China, like maybe 20 or 30 years down the road. However, another good thing is it's harder for China to compete with up and coming countries who are behind China, right? So because income is rising in China, countries like Bangladesh or Vietnam or Philippines look a lot more competitive because they have lower wages. And as more countries depend on China less, maybe not right now, like now China is dominating, but hopefully going in the future, and also as well, actually that's not a good thing, I'm not going to say it. I'm hoping that's going to make China become more wary of its bad human rights violation. Okay, this is yeah. So again, like Rivka said, if it didn't matter, they wouldn't be so worried about it. Oh, another thing that Western European and North American countries should use is culture. Okay, because as Starlink becomes a thing, it's going to become harder and harder for China to completely filter out media from outside, and culture like Hollywood, music. This is something that Western culture is something that a lot of people all around the world really like and consume. And anti-CCP propaganda is something that I celebrate. And I think promoting human rights, fighting against human rights violation, and fighting against the CCP is something that if more Hollywood actors, more singers, Disney comes out, eventually Disney will bend the knee. I'm hoping
the NBA.
The NBA, like I'm hoping at some point they all bend the knee and realize that they need to be on the side of human rights. And because it has such local consumption in China, it will influence more people, and they will see that this is something. Yeah, go on.
Bend the knee to human rights, not to the CCP. As
yes,
they've
exactly.
been doing.
Yes,
I got a new mic, so I really want to do whispering and ASMR on the new mic.
Okay. All right.
Armin, I think your point about culture is really, really well taken. I mean, things like rock and roll have the ability to bring a lot of people together and make people think or about things in a different way. I mean, I think that the power of that art, music, literature, I think it's very devalued sometimes in the modern world, but it really is a very strong force to be reckoned with all over the world.
Yeah. Thank you, Rivka.
I had to throw the goat horns.
Some people, Alex in the live chat is pointing out that Vietnam is oppressive as well when it comes to government. Yes, so is India. But again, relatively to China, I think they are far superior when it comes to their human rights record.
Well, and Katie brings up a good point.
Really?
However, I think the more first world countries interact with India, they can pressure India into lifting their standards, which would be good for Indians. Also, yes. India can oppose China, which is a very good point, because I've heard similar things about I'm speaking about the US, our relationship to Pakistan. We don't really have a lot of clout with Pakistan. We don't have a lot of invested in Pakistan that we can use basically as leverage and advocating, say, like against blasphemy law or something. Like China swept in and they have that clout with Pakistan. They have that sway very clearly based on, Imran Khan's or just in general, and I am generalizing when I say this, Pakistan's reaction to Charlie Hebdo versus the Uyghur genocide. One is much bolder than the other. Although Pakistan wasn't the only one to demonstrate a similar discrepancy in reaction. Let me be clear. That's just an example.
Yeah. By the way, what Katie is saying has become true with Bangladesh. A lot of people are like, oh my God, you're exporting works to Bangladesh and standards there are lower. Well, guess what? The standards are now improving because of more and more people exporting their jobs to Bangladesh. You idiots. They're like, oh yeah, these people have low standards. Let's go with them working under bad conditions to them having no job at all by not giving them any work. Wow, what a great solution. But right now, if you're looking at what's happening in Bangladesh, because more and more companies are making clothes in Bangladesh, first, the standards are improving because there's more competition. These people are making more money. When they're making more money, the people themselves are going to demand higher standards. There's more competition among different companies. When it comes, there are more options to go get jobs. And also, the Bangladesh economy is like booming because of all these countries coming out, and a lot of people are being lifted out of poverty because of all these European and North American companies coming out and bringing jobs to countries like Bangladesh. This is good. This is a win-win for all sides, right? This is why people don't understand how globalism is such a amazing gift to the world. People don't understand that. Oh, here, let me see. India is indeed not near China when it comes to violating human rights, but BJP certainly looks like they want to become like China. Yes, I agree. Their supporters hate CCP, but support their human rights violation. Yeah, I agree. They do. If that Yogi Bear guy was in charge of everything in China, in India,
Yogi Adityanath.
Yeah, Yogi, yeah, that guy. Then India would
Chief
become
Minister
like
of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Bear.
Yogi Bear. Okay, cool.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means that you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So, if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.